All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to show number 5 of Beyond the White Noise Paranormal. Tonight we had Ben Hansen on, but what's going on now with Ben? We're having some technical issues right now that we're trying to iron out. But we want to thank very much the one, the only, Gary Fisher of Unlocking the Unknown. Thanks for joining us, Gary. Well, we're
Anytime,
trying to
guys.
work this out with Ben in the video. It's just not. The link just isn't working. So, Ben, I apologize. It sucks. But, you know, we'll try to work this out. We have Steve-O working right here, trying to get the...
I'm still here, Tom. You know me. If you can carry on, keep with your dialogue with Ben, Kate,
okay.
And just try and get him on.
All right,
as we do it.
At this point in time, Gary.
Yes, sir.
What is going on, my friend?
Hey, it's a great day, man. The Steelers won, the LA Galaxy won. You know, it's living the dream. Yes.
Well, what we're going to do tonight is basically, since I think we're not going to have Ben Hansen on from the looks of things, which I understand. I mean, it's just technical difficulties. I've had this before. Basically, what I wanted to bring you on for is because something interesting today. All right, there was a post on our show page, okay? And usually, you know, you post on your show page, you get reached 15, 20 people, if that, 25. You know, and you don't even know if these people are going to listen to the show. But one of our guys posted the thing with Aaron Goodwin.
I read that at like 3 o'clock this morning.
Okay. That's what I was looking at. I go, that's been going on since 2014. I've researched it. He is not kicked off that. But what blew my mind the most, Gary, about this was we had over 350 reaches just with that alone.
You know, it caught me by surprise. I had to read it twice, but then when we got down into the bottom part of the article where it says they were starting season 9, which season 11 just premiered last night, and they talked to Zach and Nick about it. I'm like, Nick's not even on the show anymore. I'm like, either this is one of those joke ones, or this has got to be something that was wrong from a while ago.
Oh, and the sad thing is, though, especially with the paranormal world, there it goes right there. Steve's got it up. Thanks, Steve. Chris Adventure, the star gets fired, reveals disappointing truth about the television series, which is actually a load of BS. And the thing about it is, the way I look at it, is the fact that too many people today put stock into Facebook news, whether it's politics, whether it's this, or whether it's paranormal, and they believe it. Because it's shared and shared and shared and shared. It gets to the point where this is one of the most believable articles that's just hovering around there. I mean, have we gone feeble-minded all of a sudden?
Well, you know, you got to remember your audience, and this is the same audience where some people were outraged at that picture of Steven Spielberg sitting in front of the dead dinosaur, and how could he be such a big game hunter and slaughter an innocent animal?
Yeah. that was a classic one, that one.
People cannot separate fact from fiction, and Facebook is designed to put those titillating headlines out there and those inflammatory headlines that get you so upset. Until you look, you don't even have to read the article. Just look at the source and go, "Yeah, I'm not even going to read this. This isn't real. This is so exaggerated."
And that's what I wanted to talk to Ben about what has he learned about himself through Facebook news. You know, talking about what has he learned about that he's never known that existed. You know, based on Facebook news. You know. Now it's Ryan Buell. It's almost to the point where you're like, I don't like Facebook anymore. I mean, it's got its purpose, of course, for some people. But, you know, I just try to hold off. I never share those articles unless I research it myself and I find 3 credible sources aside from EmpireNews.net, which, ladies and gentlemen, is basically, think about it, it's satire. You're not getting the real news. It'd be like today, host from Unlocking the Unknown has heart attack on BTWN. You know, we can spread that around. You know what I'm saying? Or
you probably could be trending on Twitter.
Yeah, we all of a sudden caught the Ebola virus being on air.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, I can do that one. I could literally stream from my eyes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Steve's patient zero for the new Walking Dead.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
even mainstream media has gotten to that point where you see a headline coming up on the news, and then when they actually do the story, it's nowhere near as, it's all to just get your attention. They want your eyes on their product for a certain amount of time, whether it's truthful or not, whether you can discern reading it's not truthful. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in. I'm like you. I scan through and catch up with friends on Facebook. I stay away from the articles. Although that one, I will say, at 3 o'clock this morning, I opened it up and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I just watched this show like 3 hours ago. And then I started reading it and I'm like, okay, this is obviously either satire or old news that didn't end up being, come to fruition. So
I always make the mistake of whenever I come, I like yourself. I read it at the same sort of time over here from Facebook off the Facebook post, but I always make the same mistake. I always forget to clock when it's actually being posted online on whatever website it's on, and I always forget to look. It's the first timestamp that you normally get, isn't it, under the heading or whatever? And I always forget to look, and it's my own fault. That's why I thought it was like quite recent until Kate said, "Now it was back in 2014 or something stupid like that." I was like, "What? It's like latest news. What the blooming hell?" No, so my bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it got me, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I had to do a double take and actually read the article. So.
But it's just oh my god! It's like I got it, and I don't know why I'm aiming at Facebook. I'm drone striking Facebook on tonight's show. The reason I'm drone striking Facebook, Gary's like, "Shut up, man! I really know how to do that." But I'm kidding with you, Gary. But
you know what, man? It's the world we live in. We prop people up, right? Celebrities, athletes, paranormal celebrities, just so we can tear them down. And look, and just wait for them to screw up or to do the one thing we don't agree with, and then it's hell's bells all on them.
Yeah,
it's just that's the world we live in.
It's true, man. I mean, thinking about it, and it's like, and then if anything paranormal, it's gotten so oversaturated on Facebook that like somebody made a statement the other night they wanted to do a controlled study with the Ouija board. No big deal. And all the freak out replies that was gotten. I ended up in the midst of it. I was sitting there in the middle of it. I was going back and forth with some guy said he was a medium. I go, prove it. I go, prove it, basically. I said mediums and psychics are dodgy to begin with. And then he goes, I'm right 100% of the time, or something like that. I go,
oh my God.
And I just went into him about him and being superstitious and this and that. And I took the high road. I didn't insult. I just really took the high road with it. And then some other girl goes, well, I think that, and then I gave her the history of the Ouija board, of the talking board, spirit board. And then I said, listen, they weren't conjuring demons up in the 1700s. When they were around a Ouija board, that's a modern-day superstition. We fall prey to that on air when we see certain things, people posting a picture of an anomaly. Or something like that, know, and then all of a sudden, oh my God! Speaking of an anomaly, I see two of them.
Well, so we got two of them there. I got Steve doing this, and I got Steve doing this.
And I have Steve. What the? Steve, you're
I'm a man of many talents. That's all I can say.
Dude,
whoa, wait! Goodness, whoa!
You are an anomaly on that picture, by the way, dude. Hold that shot. I got
going on.
All right,
I've got to say, right?
I captured that.
I've had a gripe about what the hell's happening here now. Jesus. Ever since I had this upgrade for Windows 10, I had a gripe about this on Thursday on the conspiracy show we did. Windows 10 has been nothing but an absolute nightmare. It's literally winding me up, and I'll find out where Bill Gates lives, and I'm going to smack him in the face with it. I swear to God.
I've got it on my work computer. And
it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare.
Horrible.
He's laughing because he hasn't done his yet. He can't be bothered. You know what I mean? But sooner or later you'll have to,
He's got that Commodore 64. He can only hold so much.
That's paranormal in itself.
Absolutely.
It is, yeah.
That's a ghost of a machine right there.
It is. Classic one.
So, Gary, what you been up to, man, these days? I mean, lately with any investigations or anything else? I know you're busy as hell. You're landing some, like, I got to give you props, man. You got some good guests on that show. You know, you've really been pulling in some good guests, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been real lucky. Everybody's been real gracious. Pretty much everybody I've asked, I said, yeah, we'll do it. Absolutely. You know, and I just try to, like I told you guys when I was on before, I'm never going to sandbag somebody on my air, and I know you guys don't either.
I don't either now.
And I think they respect that. You know, I may throw a silly question out there, like, what's their favorite investigative food, or something, Or I asked Steve DeShavi if he finally got a hairdresser, But,
what was his initial reaction? He had to
have behind that was, for 2 weeks prior to the show he was on, he was all over social media saying, hey, can someone recommend a new barber or hairstylist? Mine moved out of town. So I was just waiting. Just waiting. And as soon as I said it, he just busted up laughing. He goes, yeah, actually, I found somebody through Facebook. But yeah, man, the show's keeping me busy. I'm doing that once a week. I originally started doing an hour, but here it seems lately we're expanding to 2 based on, what the guests want to get out and what I want to cover with guests. So we may be looking at doing a 2-hour format unless the guest specifically asked to only do an hour. Have had a couple people say they don't want to do more than an hour. And God bless Ben Hansen. He's agreed to be on my show too.
Oh, Ben's the man.
He can only give me a half hour, and that's based on an agreement he made with his family. I totally
family first.
That. So anytime I can get for these people is great. So yeah, the show's keeping me busy. We just had a big paranormal convention down here in Florida last month called the Paranormal Information Association. So we had teams from all over Florida and the Southeast come down. Had a few para-celebrities. Sean Porter from Ghost Hunters was there. Bradford from GHI. Brian Cano was there. And then Steve DeShavi made a surprise appearance, drove over from Fort Myers. So it was a really good time. Next month we've got our cancer benefit, Paranormal Kicks Cancer. That'll be back in Sebring. So that's coming along real nice. I just read and talked to one of the co-chairmans of it. They got Rob Demarest to come out this week, this time, to go on the investigation, I believe, at night. So it's everything's working. As far as the investigations, you guys know how that goes. It cycles. I got a guy that left a message a couple days ago for us. Sounded like he was a Steve DeShavi impersonator. So I wasn't sure if it was real or not. And so I called him back today and left the message and haven't gotten a call back. So you get those. You get the people that are just screwing around. We had one a couple months ago that. You show up, no, we've got pictures of ghosts. Oh, let me see the pictures of the ghosts. And it's straight off a phone app. And then I pull up the app and go, no, here's your ghost. Oh, no, I saw that same thing with my own eyes. Well, then you were extremely high or drunk. Yeah. I can't help it.
I saw it with my own eyes on my mate's phone. That's what that was.
Exactly. So, we, with the door or the phone's always open, the email's always open for clients. But, it seems just right now, just don't have a lot. And then we have some weekends where we have 2 investigations on the same night. We got to split our team up, and thankfully, we're large enough that we can do that. So it's either kind of feast or famine here lately.
Okay, I just heard from Ben, and I guess we're looking at Ben Hansen for the night tonight. He's wearing a Steelers hat and stuff like that. But we're going to rework out another time with Ben. There's working this angle here with video sometimes, there's always some sort of technical issue that goes on, and I was having them earlier all day today. If it wasn't for Steve, I felt like I was in nursery school for Windows 8, and Steve was going, no, he goes, you're winding me up. I was winding them up after a little bit, but for real though, Steve,
that's because I said, look, I just want to clear something up, right? That's because I said to you, in your search bar at the top right, type in control panel. It's a simple instruction. You know that, right, Gary? It's a simple instruction. Control panel. He types in Control Alt Delete. I'm like, this is what I'm working with. Where's Mo? Can't Mo come back from Greece right now? You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
Well, you know what, Kurt?
Go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing, man. If you need me to be Ben Hansen for the night, I'll be Ben Hansen. You need me to be Chris Hansen from Catch a Predator, we'll get Jared on the line from Subway. It's all good.
We should do it live from the penitentiary. All of us do live from the penitentiary. See if he's got lipstick put on and some eyeshadow or something like
goodness
that.
gracious.
Oh, he's pretty
I shouldn't make light of that. That a lot of underage people got really, really hurt by that sicko. So for those that I upset, I apologize. It's not.
He deserves it. Basically, he deserves it. I mean, he got what's coming to him. And when they were raiding his house, you knew damn well he was busted. He went straight to his lawyer, and I was like, "That sick bastard," And I'm sitting there going, that's unbelievable and stuff like that. But I mean, but it made every news channel had it going and stuff like this.
Sure.
But back to the paranormal and stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. More and more these days, I'm just not buying into it as much as I used to. You're
talking about paranormal TV or paranormal in general?
Oh, paranormal in general, just the way it's being operated and the way I don't see any growth happening. I mean, because
well, this is my thought. We've kind of hit the apex on paranormal shows, although they still are making new ones. You guys familiar with that show, Mountain Monsters?
Yes. Oh, those guys are just a piece of work, but yeah.
And then there's the spinoff, the Alaskan Monsters.
Is that the one
which ran for one season?
Men, is it?
Mountain Monsters, they got the long beards and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one.
So Alaska Monsters just got picked up for a second season. It's starting on Destination America next month. Destination America seems to carry nothing but paranormal shows, barbecue shows, and professional wrestling. Evidently, they think those are the only three things America's interested in.
But out of all three of them, I'll probably watch professional wrestling if it is professional. That's it.
But you know what? I think, like I said, I think the real meat and potato ones have come and gone, or I don't see a lot of innovative stuff they can do in the paranormal, and so I think you're getting a lot of groups that only got into this to get a TV show, and now they're kind of like, what do we do now? You're seeing a lot of them dissolve, but some of them are sticking around and they have no clue what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, that's actually what's one. I can't remember what it was called now, but it looked like the guys were from Texas. I can't remember what it was actually called. And they built this. They were in some sort of old asylum. It was an old mental asylum somewhere in Texas, I think. And they actually built this makeshift. Was supposed to be a quartz pyramid.
Oh, you're talking about Ghost Asylum? Yeah.
I think it may be in that one. I'm not too sure. But
I'm friends with a couple guys online that are on that show. They're good guys. I appreciate the angle that they're taking because to me, I subscribe to the theory that we're all energy. Our bodies are made up of energy. And science says you can't destroy energy. So that energy's got to go somewhere when we die. So if they're able to catch the energy,
I could see where they were coming from as regards to using a quartz prism or some sort, because there is some sort of theory behind that. Depending on how big it is and what you do with it and stuff like that for various different reasons.
Yeah, that's sure. Go ahead.
I had Rich Valdez on my show a 3 weeks back, and he brought up an interesting point, which I said if I ever get any of those guys on my show, I'm gonna legitimately ask, again, not to sandbag anybody, but his thought was, that's somebody's family. That's somebody's life.
Yeah.
Do you not think you have a moral obligation? Where's your moral obligation? Why do you think you have the privilege of being able to contain them and take them out? Whether they're, a schizophrenic, ghost, or even a serial killer. How do you morally, justify taking them out of there? Maybe they don't want to come. Maybe that's where they want to be.
The only thing they've actually caught, and I did check this one out, is one where you just saw kind of like a fog in one of their ghost catchers. And that's the only one where I looked and I'm like, wow, that is definitely interesting, because usually they get there, they try it, and they say, hey, what can you do? We have no idea. We don't even know if ghosts exist. We don't know, does our energy, how can we correlate thought if our energy's all spread out? Because we use our brain.
Yeah, so, well, here's the thing, too. That group is, in their new season, I think, premieres in October. And I think right around Halloween, they're doing a special one where it's them and Chip Coffee, where they're going to try and exorcise the exorcism home. Here's the thing, man. I'm a fan of paranormal shows because I had a friend of mine that's a cop, and he used to tell me, you know, when I watch these cop shows on TV, I get so frustrated because they glamorize and they exaggerate everything that's going on. He goes, I used to just, you know, like throw my shoe at the TV. And then he's like, at one point I just took a step back and said, you know what, this is how I look at it now. The bare bones of what I do is there, and if I can just take it for entertainment, then I'm fine with it. And that's kind of how I look at a lot of these. You know, even though a lot of them get, you know, sandbagged online, and some rightfully so. There's some that are just downright crazy. But I can sit and I can laugh and I can watch them and enjoy them. You know, so I don't see, you know, for those people who go, oh, they're ruining the paranormal. No, the groups themselves are ruining the paranormal.
Yeah, I agree with you in a sense, but I think what's going on though with those TV shows is they're kind of force feeding whatever agenda that they're having, basically to make money, entertainment-wise. Because they're force feeding, and I'm just going to say it as I say it, to the feeble-minded. When it comes to the paranormal, the people that won't think things through, the people who won't pick up an actual book, you know, and I am this is shameless plugging.
Plug for that, Becca, right there.
Yeah, great book, but it's just to the fact it drives me up the wall, like Ouija boards are bad. Now what exactly has happened to you? Yes, I understand people have bad experiences. Fine, but who do we know is even a freaking portal out there? You're not opening a portal. What's the difference if, Gary, you and I go out and we're trying to catch EVPs? It's a shot in the dark, dude. And the difference between Ouija boards is nothing except technology.
I see both sides of it. I really do, because I agree with you. You know, they're spoon feeding us stuff, and you know, the devil's advocate would say, well, you know, some investigators go into a building and get attacked by a spirit. Does that mean we tell people don't go into a building to investigate? I mean, it's kind of a, you know, catch as catch can. But then also, I will say the one good thing I don't think anybody can argue with about paranormal TV is it's made it socially acceptable for people that are having problems to reach out and ask for help. I see what you're saying. And not feel crazy.
Respect on that.
Where you're coming from there. I mean, look, to look up there, to have a point of view from a UK perspective on what you've just been talking about there. Unfortunately for us over here, we've had to put up with the likes of, and no disrespect to the crew, but we've had to put up with the likes of Most Haunted, which is at first, yeah, exactly. So at first it was it was, I want to say believable, but I use that term loosely. But the more and more the show went on, and then there was the whole thing that happened, not mentioning any names, but it was high in the press. We spoke to Kieran O'Keefe about it, I think, not so long ago. Once that happened, it got bad publicity, and then it's gone from bad to worse, from worse to downright diabolical. And it's actually still going. I'm surprised it's actually still going. You know what I mean?
I love it. Downright diabolical.
This is what I tell people that don't have any experience.
For example, you know? I mean, what difference is it going to make if you go in an investigation, if you go into an old asylum and get into a makeshift coffin and close the lid? What is that going to achieve as an investigator? It's not going to achieve anything other than you being in a box in a dark room.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, that's the sort of thing that they were doing, and I just, you know what, I'm done with it, and I don't come away from it. It was only since getting back in touch with these cronies that I've actually got back into the serious side of it, like, so.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is what I tell people: watch it, enjoy it for what it is. If you get scared because you don't have any experience in the field, you've never been on a ghost hunt, you know, cool, get your chills or your adrenaline rush or all that's cool evidence they caught, but do your own homework.
Yeah.
If you think you're being bothered in your home, contact a local reputable group. If it's something where you feel like you want to join the field, understand what you see on TV is not what happens most of the time.
It's 90%, and I'm working on an experiment now. It could turn out to be crap. It could turn out to be good. That a lot of people go to cemeteries, but they go there thinking, oh, there's always... It's not. I really don't believe cemeteries are truly, truly haunted. But I got this idea. I go, well, let me give this kind of a shot. Because, you know, it doesn't take anything for me just to go out to any old cemetery. Is that fresher graves or fresher burials have a better chance of connecting. And I'm going to go to a boatload of them. I've already caught something on video that I've ran through Mo, and he can't explain it. And I explained exactly what camera I was using, where I was, the settings, and it's just something. And there was just this weird anomaly, and I'm like, nah, it's got to be camera problems. You know what I'm talking about, Gary?
Yeah, you know what, dude? Shoot that to me. I'd love to see it. You know, I love seeing that stuff.
I just don't post anything on Facebook.
Right, yeah.
I keep it in between, like, let's say you.
Right. You put that stuff on Facebook, you may as well put an apple in your mouth and get ready for the barbecue because they're going to roast your ass. I mean, they really are. And you know, that's why I try not to be too hard on people. If I'm not where the video was taken or where the photo was taken or where the EVP was captured, I can give you an idea on what I think it might be logically, but I can't, in good conscience, butcher somebody's evidence because I wasn't there. And I don't want people butchering my evidence because they weren't there. Yeah. You know, if you can come up with something logical, cool. Hey, I think it might be this, it might be something else. But don't just, you know, butcher me just for the sake of butchering me, you know?
Well, it's people who put out the issue with that though is when people do put out their findings on Facebook and stuff like that. I don't butcher people because that's why I don't post on Facebook anything I find. It's kept on the down low within people I trust, so that way, you know, if it's nothing, if you can explain it away, that's what I want. I don't want it to be all of a sudden, it's a ghost. I want it to be, well, it could be your camera angle or your settings on your video or whatever. Be honest with me.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather be
respectful about it. Don't just go, oh, you're a hack, you made this stuff up, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't think it's real or you don't think it's legit, then give me a logical explanation as to what it is. Because if you don't have one, then I'm going to consider it being legit until someone can give me a logical reason as to why it's not.
Yeah, just that famous quote, isn't it, from I think it was Arthur C. Clarke, when all possibilities are drained or something along them lines, and the only thing you've got left is the unimaginable. Then why can't it be that? Or some words to that effect.
You know, this is how I approach things. If I go in and do an investigation and I can find a logical explanation for something, okay, I'm going to tell the client, here's the logical explanation. If I can't explain it, that means it's paranormal to me. But that doesn't mean it's ghost or haunted. That just means
it's unexplained. Yeah, it's unexplained. I call it unexplained. I don't like to use the word. Yeah. I don't use the word paranormal. I use unexplained.
Yeah, I use paranormal. That's just above normal.
Above normal. Yeah.
So then, if I take this unexplained stuff and I'm able to document things with my equipment scientifically, and still feel like there's something there, okay, now we're talking ghost-related, spirit-related, but paranormal and spirit-related are two different things to me. That's two different levels of proof or two different levels of evidence. And there's a lot more paranormal than there is spirit-related, in my opinion. I just can't give you a logical explanation why your door bangs, but I don't necessarily feel that there's a spirit here.
I think the thing about it, too, also is now, I like the fact that the movement is less religious and more going towards other ideas such as multi-dimensions to things that really, you know, that science accepts, that even science says is out there, because there could be somebody 3 inches from your face or moving by we can't sense because it's in just a different dimension. I like that idea.
I've started to subscribe to those, or at least be open and listening to those ideas, because nobody knows for sure. So who am I to tell somebody that their idea is wrong or their theory is wrong? I can't prove it wrong, so maybe it is right. You know, and here's a perfect example of that. I tell people, you know, I cover all 3 disciplines of the paranormal. I cover spirits, cryptids, and UFOs on my show. When it comes to cryptids, I believe in the possibility of certain cryptids. And people are going to laugh when I say I believe in the possibility of Bigfoot. But here's the only logical reason or logical theory on why I think Bigfoot exists or what makes sense to me. I think they're aliens. And that's why we never catch them.
That's actually
that's the only one I can wrap my head around.
Because thinking about that, I agree. That's interesting because if Bigfoot existed as a cryptid, as tied into the earth, it would be tied down to some redneck's truck right by now. You know what I'm saying?
We would have some disputable evidence beyond the Patterson-Gimlin film that was, 50 years ago? We have not progressed in evidence in 50 years on it.
1968, something like that.
Yeah, but then you look at areas of the world like the rainforest in South America. There could very well be species of animals rolling around there.
That I understand.
The Okapi was thought to be a cryptid for years because people heard these stories about it, but no one had ever seen it. So it's possible, but I don't think every Tom, Dick, and Harry that sees a Bigfoot, you know? But there's a lot of people that are really credible, and statistics would say they can't all be misidentifications, hoaxes, or, you know, people just lying. So
it's like the chupacabra. Basically, it's been debunked.
I was just going to mention
it's a hybrid. Isn't it just like a hybrid coyote that just has...
Well, that's the chupacabra of now, but if you look at the origins of chupacabra, it was like this giant bug-looking thing. And, like, how did it become a coyote with mange all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Or
the
Jersey Devil's another one I find it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hate New Jersey, so they deserve it. That's just me personally. Being from Maryland, I'm not a Jersey lover, so...
Well, you know what? To wrap up back to where we were at a few minutes ago, I meant to mention this, and I got sidetracked. I apologize. I'm working with a buddy of mine, John McCoy. He's a paranormal investigator, and he's a film guy over at Full Sail University here in Florida. And he's got a film crew that is actually, we're going to be doing a documentary about not only start to finish on investigations, but what is, you know, the dichotomy of what we do in our personal lives during the day. So keep an eye out for that. I'm really excited about that because that's going to show people truly, hey, as an investigator, this is your life, and this is your life after 8, 9 o'clock at night on the weekends.
Are they going to allow you on base, though? That's the next thing about the government.
I'm working on that. It's still in the very early stages, but I'm really excited about it. I've got good vibes on this. I hope that they will, as long as it's presented in the right light. I'm sure there will be restrictions on what I can and can't say and what they can and can't show. But, you know, I really feel passionate about showing people, like you said, what did you call them? The misinformed?
The people-minded. I'm sorry, the people-minded.
Okay. Again, that's Kurt's words, not mine.
Not Gary's, not Steve. Well, it's partial Steve's words.
Oh, they're definitely my words.
She was calling me people-minded earlier.
People-minded, misinformed, people that have never ever stepped foot on an investigation. I really want to be. I'm passionate about showing them what it's really like. So if you want to be a fan of the paranormal, and like I said, watch those shows like I watch them. I can take the bare bones of that's actually kind of a cool technique that maybe I want to try, and then take a look at the rest of it and go, that's just damn entertaining. You know, it's just funny to watch these guys scream like little girls or run around looking for the world hide-and-seek champion in the forest. I mean, you know, so... Yeah,
I can kind of agree with you there, because like yourself, I'm serious about the investigation part. I do believe there's something to it, and more to do with the interdimensional stuff you mentioned earlier on. I'm sort of swaying towards that, especially with UFOs. You mentioned UFOs before.
Yeah.
So I'm swaying towards the interdimensional sort of angle on that one. But I also like hearing about the old fantasy fairy tales of like the vampire or where the legend of the werewolf started or something like that. You know, that sort of angle as well. So you can I kind of like interested in the both, but I don't necessarily put them both together in the same bracket. You know what I mean? It's not like we're going to go out on an investigation and bump into vampire one, like, you know, Dracula or something. not unless Aaron's out with us.
my goal in life is to say I went on a cryptid hunt once, whether that's Bigfoot or whatever. I want to do that once. I want to go with a MUFON team somewhere and do a sky.
That would be cool. Go out west somewhere.
Yeah, you know, I know Ben Hansen's really involved with MUFON and that type of thing. So, you know, I have those goals because I feel I'm pretty confident in, you know, where I'm coming from when it relates to spirits. Just because I've been doing this for a while, but, you know, I really admit I don't have experience doing that stuff. I have my thoughts, I have my theories, but I would like to experience them firsthand. I was watching a show last night. It was called Shooting Bigfoot. Have you seen that documentary?
I saw the advertisement for it.
Oh my God!
What was it? Explain that.
Supposedly, it's a British filmmaker who came over and followed 3 different groups of Bigfoot researchers.
Okay.
But the Bigfoot researchers they followed, two old 50-year-old look like drunk guys in Ohio. That one guy claimed he had a sheep bone implanted in his head, and because he's part animal, he can sense where Bigfoot is, and that's why he can see it, and the other ones can't. And the other one is Rick Dyer, who's the notorious liar with the Bigfoot body.
Oh, he was the one that claimed he killed Bigfoot. And
Right.
he had
it in the freezer.
He
robbed
people. Yeah, he robbed people of a lot of money on that.
And then another guy who was actually connected with Dyer on that, but his Tom Biscotti, who distanced himself from it. But at one point, he's in the woods with Biscotti and this other guy who was really just strange. I mean, I looked at my mom was visiting. She was watching it with me. I looked at her and I go, if they're trying to prove Bigfoot's existence, they picked the 3 worst possible candidates to interview on this show because they are so just, and not to be judgmental, but I mean, they don't sound authoritative. They don't sound like they know what they sound like a bunch of crazy lunatics. And like they're with Biscotti in the woods, and the one guy's got his ears on, and he's got a parabolic mic pointed up into the sky, because his theory is there's this sound that comes from UFOs that is related to Bigfoot activity. And so they're sitting in the chair, and he's got this parabolic mic up, and he goes, "Do you hear the woo 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 woo?"
Oh, that's the woo woo. That's the woo woo. You know that one show where they name him the Yahoo.
Exactly. And so Biscotti, to his credit, goes, "There's a plane up there, dude." He goes, "Like you hear the propellers on the plane," and he goes, "No," he goes, "You don't know that's a plane." And so they asked the filmmaker. He goes, "Point your camera up there and tell me what that is." So he points it up in the sky, and he goes, "Looks like a plane to me. I can see the lights." And this other guy goes, and I shit you not, with a straight face, "Well, how do we know that's a plane? You can't tell me that's a plane any more than I can tell you that's a UFO disguised as a plane, and it's calling in Bigfoot."
They should have just buried.
Oh my God!
They should have just buried that guy out in the woods, dude, and left him.
I started laughing. My mom started laughing. I'm just like this, and that's those types of things. It's like that's so entertaining to me. But I can see someone who's never done Bigfoot investigation, but is interested in it, going, "Wow, okay, you know that's."
So what's your take on the Finding Bigfoot crew then? What's his name, Moneymaker or whatever his name is?
I'll give those guys credit. They're at least they come off more credible. Although a lot of times, even within their own group, guys like, yeah, it was like 7 feet tall, but when they do the reenactment, it couldn't have been 7 feet tall. But he goes, was it this tall? Oh, that's only like 5'4". And then one guy goes, no, I totally believe you saw a Bigfoot. And the other guy on the team's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Sticking with that actual group of people, I did see an interesting case on Bigfoot. I can't remember what it was called now. It was a particular case out in the northwest sort of mountain states, I think, something like that. And Bubba from the Finding Bigfoot crew was involved in this investigation. I can't remember the name of the town, or it escapes me. But when you read into it, it was basically a guy who lived in a cabin in the woods, and he had plenty of deer around and stuff like that. And he was getting attacked by Bigfoot, apparently. Well, the cabin was, because of all the feed and all that he used to put out for hunting the deer.
Oh, wow. No, that was me in a gully suit, by the way, Steve. I got paid. That's how I paid my rent this month.
You don't need a ghillie suit, lad.
Just take your shirt off, Kurt.
I got all tattoos. I'm so tattooed up. I got the moves. You don't want to see the man boobs.
Yeah.
But I was in the gully suit that night. They paid me production. I had to make money one way or another.
You know, I will say this about those guys. Most of those guys have been doing it for over 20 years. They are extremely dedicated, because if I had found as little evidence of the spirit world after 20 years, I probably would quit doing this.
Yeah.
I understand.
I can only say that I can consistently, that sounds arrogant, but, consistently find evidence that I believe is proof of spirit activity. If I'm just rolling around in the woods for 20 years and all I got is or a couple people banging on trees, I'm like, why the hell am I doing this?
Bears, too. I mean, think about the area, though. I think you go into a certain area, these guys go into areas where half the time a tree's knocked down, it's a freaking bear. Or, depending on what show, it's a production. A production assistant knocking a tree down because they found nothing. And they got to make money off the show. Bottom line, dude, no matter whether it's paranormal, UFO, cryptids, if it's on television, It's there to make money. I mean,
it's not the gospel, and that's why I'm so passionate about educating people. Even if it means I go on a real Bigfoot hunt and I say, "Hey, this is what happened to me."
Yeah.
Did you ever see Strange Days with Bob Saget, where he followed like subcultures around on a weekend? He went with some Bigfoot researchers one time, and he goes in. They go into a gas station to get groceries for the hunt, right? And this guy gets one of those big honey buns. And he goes, "Are you gonna eat that?" And he goes, "No, that's for Bigfoot." And Bob Saget goes, "Bigfoot likes honey buns?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." And you just see him turn and look at the camera like, "You got to be shitting me." And that's where I think cryptids have a bad name, because those are the people that are considered experts, right? Yeah. At least in the paranormal spirit world, you have people like John Zaffis and Bishop James Long. There are some really credible people that say, yes, this stuff does exist. And at least we have, for our niche in the paranormal, at least we have that going for us, that there are really credible people. And I would say the UFOs come in second. They have some credible people, but they have some people out there. I mean, not that spirits don't have people, we don't have people out there too, but
it all depends on also too on be skeptical. That's all I gotta say. People don't. I think just because it's on Facebook, just because it's on Twitter, it's gospel. And to be honest, it's not. I mean, I've talked to some investigators for years, and they say I thought 90, and we're talking to Kieran O'Keefe. Barry Fitzgerald was the other one. Remember we talked? I was like, what have you? Well, actually, not as much with Barry Fitzgerald, but with Kieran O'Keefe, we said, have you ever seen a ghost? He's like, no. He goes, and this is, you're talking to a guy with a real doctor, not one from some university that's not accredited, but he's teaching forensic psychology.
Come on, man. I spent 5 whole minutes getting that doctorate from that Mexican online university.
Oh, yeah, we sent it to you. We want our money.
I hold my hands up now. I'm Jose.
Oh, okay.
You're Dr. Jose. Okay.
Jose. Yeah. Jose Carreras.
Whatever I can tell people, if you're gonna investigate, always go in skeptical, because if you go in a non-skeptic, you're gonna find what you're looking for. And if that's why I don't believe in charging clients. If I charge somebody, and I feel like I'm beholden to them to tell them what they want to hear, not what I really believe I found.
And also, a lot of times there's a lot of, with some groups, I'm trying to think, there's a lot of feedback, because what happens is some of these psychics go in, some of these mediums go in first, and they always blame the paranormal groups for stirring up the hornet's nest, wherever it may be. And then that's where I'm sitting there calling them out saying, prove it. Prove you're psychic. I don't care if you don't charge people. I don't believe it. I don't believe in psychics, really, and I don't believe in mediums. I believe you and I have gut instincts. Something's going to happen. We feel it on the back of our neck sticks out. Yeah, but there's no story that goes with it. That, it was a little dead boy that, unless we knew about the little dead boy that drowned in the pond behind the house. So I can go on and on, but
I can count on one hand the number of people I think are legitimate psychics that I've encountered in my time in the paranormal, and it's probably that many. It's probably three.
Same here.
And there may be more out there. I just have not had direct access to them. That we have a psychic on our team in Proof here in Florida, and the first time I met her, she came up and she called me by my childhood nickname. Now, this is not on my social media anywhere. I don't share this name with anyone. No one other than my immediate family knows it and hasn't called me since I was 6 years old. And I looked at her and I go, how did you know that? And she said, grandfather's here. And she described him. And I'm like, there's no way she could know that. Absolutely none. Because I tried. I got online. I looked up my name. I looked for pictures of my grandfather. There's no way she could know this. And to me, then, okay, you're legit. She's legit.
Yeah.
But she also comes into our investigations. I'm sorry, go ahead, Kurt.
No, go ahead. Keep going with what you were saying.
But she goes into our investigations, and when we get there, she doesn't want to know anything about the place we're investigating. She does her walk in the building before we even go in. She writes cold read. She writes all her findings down on a piece of paper. She puts it in a sealed envelope, gives it to our group's founder or whoever's running the investigation. For the rest of the night, she picks up a piece of equipment. She's a scientific investigator. Then at the end of the night, or when we do evidence review, we compare what our equipment found and what she wrote down on that piece of paper. And more often than not, it's pretty close.
That's interesting, I think. I mean, to do it that way is interesting. And she's picking up I like that. I mean, I like the setup on that, the dynamics on that, because it's not just some lady going in telling you what happened, and then all of a sudden you got to substantiate what she said with, let's say, your readings, if you whatever kind of gear you're bringing into each investigation.
There are a lot of quote-unquote psychics who are good at cold reading people, like Sherlock Holmes does. Mm-hmm. They can look at you, and they could probably get 10 facts about you just from looking at you.
Just from your body language.
From your body language, what you're wearing, how you present yourself, how you speak, things that you have on your body, rings, watches, jewelry, clothes, whatever. So you got to be really careful. Because there are a lot of charlatans out there that are good at that. And
what I feel bad for when it comes to that are the people that really should be in therapy, but they're spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and these psychics they're pariahs. Some of them, they're predators. No, some of them actually.
You want the perfect example of that? Sarah Winchester in the Winchester Mystery House.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's the perfect historical example of that. She just kept building and building because these psychics kept telling her, these souls of people that your guns have killed is going to come.
The guns killed, yeah.
So, yeah, you got to be careful. You got to make sure they're legit. You got to be careful if you do. If you want to go pay a psychic and sit down with them, be careful what you reveal. Make sure that they're actually reading you and getting it legitimately, and you're not giving them clues that are making it easier for them.
Yeah, I've done so many shows with psychics that have given me readings for most of the show, and I write down what they do, and I had one person do it, and this guy I forget his name. He had kind of getting a big name, he was slowly getting a big name out there, and I just didn't want to have the heart to tell him, you just fucking flop that test. You know what I'm saying? You just flop that test. But I didn't have the heart to say it until I told somebody else afterwards. I go, that's what it was. And this person charged, I can't say her name, but this person charges $300 an hour to give a reading.
Wow.
She gave me a free reading because we had her on, and we plugged her name, this and that, and she dropped the ball as if she was a Washington Redskin. That's all I got to say.
She's like, I can tell you like soccer, and you're an LA Galaxy fan, and you're just looking at her like, yeah, that's it.
It was so bizarre, man. And that was the fun part about having psychics on. Is like they offer to give you a free read, and other times I go, and I've told others don't bother.
I think I need to schedule some more psychics on my show because I was all right. You're legitimate. Tell me what color pants I'm wearing, and then whatever color they telling me, you're wrong. I'm not wearing any.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that would be. Oh my God, that would be epic. That would just be.
Again, not to make light of the few that are really legitimate, because I think there are a few out there.
Sell themselves,
They don't.
It's like they don't whore themselves out because a lot of them feel weird about having some ability. I know a guy who, and actually I kind of lost touch with him. I had to give him a call, and he, I'm not going to give his name out and stuff like that for personal reasons, but his job is to do with dealing with criminals on the run. Now that guy does not charge for anything. He gave me a reading, and I was like, dude, that's a good reading. He goes, I don't like to give them to people now because now all of a sudden everybody expects everything. I'm going to charge them it. I go, at that point, just charge them if they're going to try to rip it off. Not you a free read, but he was legit, and I think it's because of his job too. It was the ability to get the feel.
Sure.
But it's just I don't know.
Basically, you got a paranormal reading by Dog the Bounty Hunter is what you're telling me.
No, but this guy does Dog the Bounty Hunter. I've seen a picture of him with Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's a good guy too, man. I'm not Dog, but this other.
You guys probably know a handful of legitimate psychics that you've come across. You know.
We all do. You know, in our world, the way we deal with things.
I can name two off the top of my head. Elena Jones, who's in my group Proof, I told you about earlier.
Yeah.
Scotty Rorick is a friend of mine. I believe he's legitimate. You know, but then there are so many, the John Edwards and all of that other BS. I don't know what I can say on your show without getting you in trouble. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, that has been proven. They send television producers in there with fake stories, and their crew finds out about it, and then suddenly he's reading this television producer on a story that isn't even real.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's that's why I like. Believe it or not, people are going to think I'm crazy, but that's why that Uri Geller was called out by Randy, the amazing Randy. I thought that was the most epic of epic things. Yeah. Randy, the guy's just out there, but he does not hold back. I mean, he's legitimate.
He's like a modern day Houdini, really.
Yeah, he really is.
He outs these people that are taking advantage of people.
Yeah, and I see nothing wrong with that. Houdini was incredible for doing that. But I thought also what's interesting is what we don't learn about the history are the Mary Todd Lincolns who used to use sightings. Remember that old famous picture of the double exposure of Lincoln putting his arms on her?
Right, on her shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah, but she was really big into that before she lost her mind and was tossed in a movie.
They didn't really play that up in the Vampire Hunter one, though.
No, no, I like that film. No.
American or Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. You never seen that one?
I saw that. Yeah, that's actually a funny movie.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that picture of Mary Todd and the ghost of Lincoln is legit or not. It looks very cool. I mean, I saw it was on one of the shows I was watching the other day. I'm like, it's amazing they could do that with the technology.
With the technology they had back then. But you know, and you and I all know it's BS. It's just like it's the earliest of early apps that could be actually put out there before computers. You know, before computers, that was an original. Yeah. I wonder if you can still find that as an app somewhere. I wouldn't put myself.
Isn't there one too where it's like is it Marilyn Monroe? It's either President Kennedy standing there and Monroe's in the shadows, or it's vice versa. Isn't there one like that as well?
I do know of one that was supposedly caught of them.
It's like both Kennedy brothers, and then she's like standing behind him or something.
No, that does sound familiar. That one, if I'm honest, but the one that I remember was Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe, sort of like a bit of a cuddle sort of pose.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of, Steve. I think
that turned out to be an actual fake from a well-known photography artist based in the States. These used lookalikes or something really good. They were really good ones. They did look legit. Like.
And supposedly it was someone just got a hold of the photo and lightened the background enough that you could see her standing there, see him standing there or whatever.
Yeah, but, it was purposely done to as if it was like took the photograph as if it was like
and that's a
paparazzi sneaky photo, you know, that sort of thing.
And that's the sad part in all disciplines of the paranormal is that stuff gets presented as evidence, then finally gets found out and butchered, and then they think every piece of evidence is faked or exaggerated or a hoax. Yeah, and it's so frustrating, you know, because you either got the people think, oh, you just want to be on TV or you're all about faking evidence. Trust me, I'll tell you if I sat in a place for 8 hours and didn't find anything.
I created a news story. Steve knows about it. It looked like I got an app off on my phone, and it looked like an old newspaper. And you could type in what you want. I created a whole story about the red-eyed kids, and then I just put it out there. It came back to me full circle from a lady in Australia.
You know, there are still people.
I can actually vouch for that.
There are people that still think the Charlie challenge is real. Even though that movie has come out and admitted, no, it's all part of our marketing plan, these people still think Charlie exists. People still think the Slender Man exists, even though it's been proven it was a college project.
Yeah.
I still know people that actually look into the mirror and say Candyman 5 times and expect him to turn up behind him.
It's the same thing, Steve. Steve, you're right. It's the exact same thing, dude. It's just urban legend, you know. I think urban legends are neat to read, you know, but I'd love to go to places and try just to debunk them. You know, I was in Missouri. And we were looking at the Fahrenberg lights. It's supposedly a railroad guy, and you know, got his head chopped off at the railroad track back in the 1800s. And we were on some dirt road in the middle of nowhere. I'm surprised I should have been looking for like UFOs out there because I actually see stars. Here I just see lights. You're in the city area, you just see lights all around you. But anyhow, it was interesting. But I noticed though, looking at an angle, that things were coming across looking orange, and I wonder what's going on. I'm looking because I'm standing on this dirt road, middle of nowhere, and I'm sitting with my girlfriend, and we were sitting there, and I'm looking, and it looked like orange things going back and forth. I'm like, hold on a second, that's a freaking road going there. So I got on YouTube to see if anybody else had actual pictures of the Fahrenberg lights, and I saw some guy supposedly had a picture of a light. It wasn't moving because it's supposed to be one of those train, the train guys with their
with the old lanterns and stuff.
The old lanterns and stuff.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, it's so easy to debunk it. Or the Confederate soldiers in our area will push your car up. I was like, I don't want to take a chance with that.
You know, that's funny is because, to route it back to Paranormal TV, I saw a show. In fact, I think Ben Hansen, Fact or Fake, did a thing where they debunked it, and they said even though it looks like it's uphill, the slope is actually downhill.
Yeah, I've heard of that before.
Ghost Adventures did it like 2 years later and was still treating it as a legitimate story. And then they're like, they put powder on the car, and then they did the same thing. They hired a survey crew and determined, nope, the slope's downhill. I'm like, do you guys not pay attention to this stuff? I mean,
they're about demons and making money at this point. They're up there, and then you got Ghostbusters coming out with their new season. I might watch a little bit of that here and there, but I definitely
this is the way I look at it. To me, like, John Zaffis is the godfather of the paranormal, but Jason Oz is the godfather of paranormal TV.
Yeah. But then Zach Bagans.
Because I'll be honest, although I've had an interest in the paranormal since I had my experience when I was 11, that's what their show really got me into thinking, hey, this is something I may want to do. So for that, I salute him. Yeah. And God bless him. He's been able to not work at Roto-Rooter for 10 years now. More power to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he wants to do, but he's well off. I mean, because I looked up how much they're worth. Like, he's worth close to like $2 million.
Well, as soon as they go from star and then they start getting that executive producer credit.
Yeah, the producer. That's what I'm saying. That's where you get paid the bank as a producer.
Basically you make it through that first contract where you got to do whatever it is they tell you to do, and then you renegotiate and you get more power and you at minimum get more money. Hopefully more say in how things are presented.
And that's why when we have Barry Fitzgerald on, the best parts of the show sometimes are the before and after, where you get the real questions. And I dropped the ball and didn't ask him why Grant truly quit. I think it's because Jason Hawes. I think he there's rumored out there that he's business wise, he could be a prick. He could be a prick.
But I know Grant had a lot of other varied interests. He's doing music, he's doing video games, and I truly think, one, he was tired of being on the road all the time. Because you remember in the beginning, every Halloween they were doing a live special. And at the time, both those guys had young kids. So every Halloween, they're never home. That could wear on you after a while.
Yeah, most haunted over here went through a phase like that where every Halloween you had like a live session.
And I gotta be honest with you, I missed those. I would stay up and watch them all night just because I'm like, kind of cool, I watched them before I was an investigator in the paranormal, before I was actually doing it myself. But I think Grant just had some different interests, and maybe, I'm still waiting for somebody to leak why Groff left Ghost Adventures. That's been so tight-lipped. It's like something really bad happened there.
There was something on Twitter. I read the Twitter. It said, just because we were on TV together doesn't mean we're friends. Zach Bagans said that. It was a shot. It was a poke, and I'm not spreading gossip here. It was a straight shot at Nick Groff.
I know shortly after Groff left, he started producing Ghost Stalkers with John Tenney and Chad Lindbergh. So maybe it's one of those things where he wanted to branch out, and then Zach shut him down. And said, if you're going to do that, then you're not going to be on here anymore. Happens in music groups all the time, right? You got one guy who wants to do the solo project, but then come back to the band. And the rest of them we're good. Have a good one. Enjoy your solo career.
Yeah, and plus somebody like Groff would have to answer to Bagans in a sense because he is a producer of the show. Yeah. There's a lot more involved. Once somebody becomes a producer, when they first started off, I thought it was kind of cool. 3 of them together, and then all of a sudden they started getting another one. Then you got Billy Tolley and Jay Walsey.
The beginning of me and my 2 guys with cameras is now there's 4 guys, right? Plus Jay Walsey's wife is there. She's on part of the.
Walsey's wife is there?
Yeah, they did one in Tombstone where they brought her in. I guess she does audio analysis off screen, and they brought her in to be like a trigger object. So it's like, okay, how many people are on your damn crew now? You've lost the heart of what I thought really made that in the beginning. To me, 3 normal guys getting the shit scared out of them.
Yeah.
You know, and acting like I think most people would act in these situations.
Oh yeah, like let's say you and I were in some of we'd be doing the same thing, man. We'd be jumping and.
I gotta admit, I've not been in a lot of really dark, menacing places in my paranormal career, and I'm thankful for that. People that I know that know Zach said that those guys legitimately have been affected by some of the places they've gone, and they still carry some of that stuff with them. And it's like I always tell people, Bishop James Long to me is a very reputable person. He says, when I was on Ghost Adventures, nobody asked me to fake anything. Now, the cynic would say, well, you're the guest star, so they probably wouldn't. But he's also a smart man, and he was on set the whole time. So they either just didn't do it while he was there, or, you know what I'm saying? At some point, somebody that's been on one of these shows, or one of the local groups that's watched it from behind the scenes, is going to call them out. If they're really, do they embellish? Yes. Are there times when maybe they don't find things, that there's knocks and stuff, or what was that? I can see that happening. Again, I'm not there. I can't say for 100%. But I don't think they fake everything. I really don't.
A lot of it's clever editing as well. Clearly goes on with the TV programs as well.
Sure.
Because they've got to get it all into, like I say, a half an hour or an hour slot, whichever it may be. And,
well,
clever editing obviously happens as well. Do you know what I mean?
I spoke to Steve DeShavi second week of my show, and I politely asked him in a respectful way, how do you balance the naturally occurring things in your show versus the direction that your director wants it to go and the network wants it to go? And his answer was simple, and this makes a lot of sense for at least his show. We shoot over 40 hours of screen time for a 45-minute show. That gives the director enough material to run it any direction he wants, and it's all legitimate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I don't see
that happening.
I don't see somebody like the Shavi actually. You know, you see him on Facebook, they're putting up with that crap. You know,
the premise of that show doesn't lend itself to being faked a lot either.
It doesn't. Yeah, that show's not. I don't mind that show.
It's a different breed of paranormal show, and when I talk to people throughout the field of paranormal and people that watch it, the one show that always comes up when you say, which one don't you think is fake? They say the Dead Files.
Yeah.
The Dead Files.
He has the ability, what I like about it is not necessarily when he goes in with their ex-husband or whatever does. That doesn't interest me. But what interests me is his research.
He says he starts researching over a month in advance and they have multiple historians, librarians, local folklorists lined up because he says no more often than not you'll get someone agree to come on and then they back out at the last minute.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So they've got multiple people lined up, and he says, and I vet them because he is a retired New York City homicide detective, but he also has a fully functioning private eye.
Yeah, he's a PI. Yeah.
So he vets these people before he even talks to them.
So he clearly knows the rules of investigation, then, doesn't he?
Yes,
you know
absolutely.
You know what I mean? So he sounds credible already just by that alone.
You know, you guys should try and get him on. I'll do what I can to facilitate that for you.
Yeah.
He's an amazing interview. You want to talk about a down-to-earth guy, and then he's someone I consider a friend, and quite honestly, and that's not to toot my own horn, but he came out to PIA, that conference I was at last month, for no other reason than to come hang out with people he knew that were there.
That's cool.
He wasn't an invited guest. He lived an hour and a half away. He come out just to hang out, and he loves the fans, and he loves people in the paranormal, you know, and he's just a salt of the earth guy.
So what name is that again? Kate, that's your next job.
No, I got it, dude. Everything I do is I got everything taken care of, Steve. You got to worry about your own show getting guests, dude. Not me.
Yeah, you know what? I turned in and I gave Ed Bagrowski so much crap about that. I said, dude, I turned in on the weekday to see this show. I normally catch it on the replay, and I turn in live, and you don't show up.
Oh, and I booked Ed. Oh, yeah, and I booked Ed for that show, too.
Because I thought they meant 10 o'clock our time. I go, that's like the middle of the night over there, dude.
I know. That's why I always put on, because sometimes when the shows are set up in the UK side, I'll always put up for more for us over here, knowing that, because we don't use military time like in the UK. You know how they use military time? We tend to use 5 p.m. Eastern time. So many different, time zones in America.
I know he legitimately felt bad about that, so he's he's anxious to reschedule.
Yeah.
Well, he's coming on. Isn't he coming on this week?
I'm trying to get him on for. Is it the first? The next one? I'll have to check the calendar. I think it's the first. The next one. We'll try and get him on for then.
I can hit him up. I can hit him up. I'll hit him up. But back to what you were talking about, Gary. So, bottom line. In my eyes, I just see the paranormal, and I'm not talking about groups outside that aren't, but it's becoming a cesspool. People like
there's a lot of high school drama in the field. There's a lot of backstabbing in the field, and I don't understand that. I don't know why people are like, here's my evidence, you can't see it. Here's the place, a really cool place that I investigated. They got a lot of stuff at. You can't go in there. Like, why? We're all in this to try and prove this to the people that don't believe it. Why are we not combining and trying to take your bit and my bit, and let's see if that makes a full puzzle piece? I don't get it.
It's just going on like that. You can blame, there's a lot of things to blame. Social media, bottom line, social media. I'm just going to keep it at that. I think that's causing a lot of this uproar. If you get on Facebook, there's over probably how many hundreds of paranormal groups you can belong to. The only reason I belong to them is just to share the show. I don't get involved in the conversations unless somebody directly hits me up saying, "Why are you spamming my site?"
It's funny. I created a Twitter account for my show this week.
Good.
Probably within an hour of it, after we talked the other day, Kurt. Actually, it was that same day. Come to think of it. I get these paranormal groups from all over following me. And I'm like, okay, I know for a fact none of you have heard my show, so we're networking, and I'm okay with that. I'm not mad. I'm not irritated.
I like that.
Here's an outlet for my show. I'll post on your page.
Our Twitter account was the same, weren't it, Kate, when we first opened up ours? We've got just over 1,000 followers or something stupid now. It's after the paranormal groups that are following us on Twitter and Facebook, we've never even spoke to or even heard of. They just do it because it's like you say, it's networking within the paranormal investigation field. And like you say, I totally agree with you, Gary. If you gather information and evidence or potential evidence, the more eyes that are looking at it, the more chance you've got of something getting spotted. I
don't want to look like a clown because I present something that I think is credible when one of you guys has a legitimate reason why it isn't. And you can tell me that. But you don't, and you make me look like a clown for no other reason than it feels like it builds you guys up, right?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's silly, I think. Like you say, we're all in it together. We're all trying to get to the one goal of trying to understand what the paranormal is.
If someone sends me their picture, their EVP, or their video, I'll give them my honest opinion on what I think it is and if I don't think it's paranormal. But I'm not going to sandbag them and butcher them because I maybe have an idea of what it is, right? Because they think it is, and they're asking for help. They're asking for my help. They're asking me to see what I think. So I owe them a respectful, honest answer. I'll point this out for your listeners and any of mine they're listening. Don't send me any fucking orb pictures.
Oh, dude, that's what I was getting ready to work on.
Don't do it. Orbs on camera do not exist. I believe I've seen one orb in my lifetime. I was on a location and I saw it with my own 2 eyes, and it went boop, 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 and went out. And it wasn't a firefly or anything like that. I have not seen an orb on film that I consider credible. So please, don't send me orb pictures. I don't want to read the orb. I don't want to channel the orb. I don't want to tell you that it looks like Lincoln's face in the orb. Just stop. Stop with the orbs.
At the risk of dumping you in, I was going to do a hashtag Gary Fish's orb then, but I won't.
I'm going to. Yeah. Let's do it right here on the website. Gary Fish's orbs. The orb family.
Oh. I guess you could run it like an MTV ridiculousness, right? I could just be
like a top 5 thing. You mean?
Orbs, and I'm just butchering them and making fun of them for an hour, right?
Yeah.
Top 5 Gary Fisher rants on orbs.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea for a video for that
channel. That's actually a good idea, Steve. I might have to take that under advisement. Oh.
Or worse, what drives me up a wall, or when I get pictures of people taking pictures of smoke and seeing faces. I'm like, dude, pareidolia.
I saw this mist in this cemetery. Really? You're in Florida in the summer. It's freaking water vapor.
And that was me smoking right beside you. So,
yeah.
I mean, right there, I just was adding to it. All right, Gary. Well, we're gonna have to close up shop, dude. I want to thank you very much for coming on, stepping in place because of tech issues we have with Ben. And dude, wish you the best. Gary Fisherman, unlocking the unknown, and what day are you on, by the way, Gary?
I'm on Wednesday nights. We just moved it back to 9 p.m. Eastern. And we did that a couple weeks back. Every once in a while, the time will fluctuate. I've had Maurice on, so I had to shoot that one or tape that one at 5 my time.
He claims it's Maurice.
We never even told him to say that.
I've got Aaron scheduled next month. Kurt, I've got you in October, and Steve, I got to get you on the schedule. So, depending on where the guest is or what their schedule is, but more often than not, it's 9 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday nights. Like I said, it's kind of evolved into a 2-hour show, even though that wasn't my intent. It seems to be a lot of people want to go 2 hours. If you only want to go an hour, I'm cool with that. Or in Ben Hansen's case, he can only give me 30 minutes of his time. I'm cool with that.
So that's understandable.
Check it out on Blog Talk Radio. It's blogtalkradio.com/unlockingtheunknownradio. And appreciate you guys having me on, and always looking forward to talking to you guys down the road.
Man, thanks for coming on the show, actually, dude.
Yeah, it was great seeing you again, Gary, as always.
You too, Steve. Yeah, absolutely. We'll stay in touch, and next time Ed doesn't show up for your conspiracy corner, give me a call.
You like rubbing that in, don't you? Just for the record, Ed,
I'm saying, Ed, you're supposed to be guessing our show tonight, dude.
What you really need to do is just come up with a day and then call them. Go, dude, we were supposed to have you on again tonight. Where were you? I don't know.
You just said that all you're gonna do.
He's not listening.
Oh man.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Hey, take it easy, Gary, man. Dude, that was awesome. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Steve Foy and myself, Kurt Lawson. Next week, we have on Bill Hall.
Yeah.
Bill Hall, the one and only. He is actually, believe it or not, before he's a paranormal author, he was a magician and one hell of a skeptic. We want to see if he slipped into the dark side. And waiting on that. Bill's always a great guest. So, on that note.
All right.